Imagine you're standing at a harbour, gazing at an ancient ship weathered by years of voyages across the seas. The ship's name is one you've heard 1,000 times before, a name steeped in history, the ship of Theseus. This ship has seen countless repairs over the years. Each plank, each beam, each nail and each sail has been replaced one by one over time. Not a single original piece remains, but it still sails proudly under the same name. It still looks the same, it still feels the same, and yet we can't help but ask, is it the same ship? What makes it the ship of Theseus? Is it the name painted on its bow? The memory of the voyages it's made? Or the way it fits into our collective understanding of what it represents? Or does its identity lie in something much more tangible, in the material itself? If every part of it has been replaced, at what point did it stop being the ship of Theseus and become something new? This thought experiment, the ship of Theseus, has perplexed philosophers for centuries. It's a simple story that has profound implications. At its heart, it asks, what is identity? What does it mean for something, or someone, to remain the same over time, even in the face of change? Thomas Hobbes, another great philosopher, took the ship of Theseus story and added a new twist, a complication, if you will. He wondered, what if someone, as each part of the ship was replaced, took those discarded pieces, those old and weathered parts, and reassembled them into a ship? Now you have two ships. One, the original ship, continuously repaired with new parts, still sailing the seas, and the other, a perfect recreation of the ship of Theseus, using all the old original materials. So here's the question: which one is truly the ship of Theseus? Think about it for a moment. So the first ship, the one with all the new parts, has an unbroken history, a direct line of continuity. But the second ship, the one built from all the original materials, feels like it carries more of the, shall we say, the essence of the original. Doesn't it? Seems like it. After all, it's made from the same wood, the same iron, the same cloth. So which is the real ship? So it's not just about a ship anymore. The question is about everything. It's about us, our bodies. Excuse me. Our bodies, after all, are constantly changing. So every cell that makes you dies, and a new cell has replaced them, and so on. So in fact, most of the cells in your body today, they didn't exist when you were born. Your thoughts, your emotions, your experiences, they all shape and reshape who you are. So are you still the same person you were 10 years ago, 20 years ago? Where does identity really lie? Is it in the continuity of existence, like the first ship of Theseus, constantly renewed but still carrying the same name and purpose? Or is it in the substance, the physical material of who we are, like the second ship, rebuilt from the original parts? So, let's move beyond sort of ships and harbours. Let's, expand it out a bit. So, we'll leave the sea behind for a moment, and we will turn our gaze to the stars, to space, to a distant future. So I want you to imagine a world where we have, as human beings, we've conquered the limits of space. And in this particular world, in this sort of, this future we're dreaming up, we have, by we I mean us human beings, have, we have come up with a means of teleportation. So we can teleport someone from place A to place B across the galaxy. So, Derek, what was his name? Derek Parfit. He's a philosopher, and he was fascinated by the question of personal identity. He imagines a futuristic scenario where you step into a teleportation machine. You've seen this in sci-fi movies like Star Trek and so on. So you get into the machine scans every atom of your body, every detail of your consciousness, your thoughts, your memories, your feelings, everything that makes you you, and it records it all. Then, in an instant, your body is disassembled. Every atom is broken down, and on another planet somewhere else, light years away, a perfect copy of you, composed entirely of new atoms, materializes. The process is seamless. To the copy of you on that faraway planet, it feels like nothing happened. You stepped into the machine and suddenly you're on this other planet. You've got all your memories, all your experiences and so on. It's as if you were instantly transported. But think for a moment, what actually happened to you when you stepped in that machine? The original you. The one that entered the machine. Are you still alive? Have you survived the process, or has something terrible happened? Something unimaginable occurred? Has the real you been destroyed, only to be replaced by a copy, one who thinks it's you but is really just a reproduction? So here's the deeper question. As if that wasn't deep enough. Here's the deeper question. What does it mean to survive? If a perfect copy of you can be made, with all your thoughts, your memories, your feelings, all of that stuff, everything that you think and feel makes you you, all of that remains intact within that perfect copy. Is that enough? Is that you, or is there something more, something intrinsic to the original copy that can never be captured or replicated? So now that you've got that question in your mind, let's go a little bit further. What if the machine malfunctions? What if, instead of disassembling your body, it leaves you intact on Earth while simultaneously creating a perfect copy of you on that faraway planet? Now there are two of you, identical in every possible way. Each one believes that they are true, that they are the true continuation of you. So which one is the real you? You might be thinking, well, it's the one that never left Earth. After all, that's the original me. But here's the catch. And there's always a catch. So here it is. If identity is defined by the continuity of experience, the one on the faraway planet has all your memories and thoughts too. So from the copy's perspective, that one on the faraway planet, they are the real you. In fact, they wouldn't even realise that they're a copy. So which one is right? It's a paradox that Parfit uses to challenge our assumptions about personal identity. So he argues that we place too much importance on the idea of a singular, unbroken self. This idea that there is one true you, so to speak, that persists through time. But what if that isn't the case? What if, in fact, personal identity is not as concrete as we perhaps think it is, or at least intuit that it is? So let me ask you, if the copy on the faraway planet behaves like you, thinks like you, believes it's you, does it really matter whether it's the original or a replicant? After all, isn't the preservation of your consciousness the thing that matters most? So Parfit suggests that maybe personal identity is not what we should be concerned about. Instead, we should focus on psychological continuity. The fact that someone with your memories, your thoughts, your feelings, and so on continues to exist even if the original physical body no longer does, essentially. So to Parfit, I almost forgot his name then. To Parfit, this psychological continuity is what matters in survival. It's not whether the exact same person persists, but whether a version of you continues within the same mind. So that, in some sense, brings us back to the ship of Theseus. Is it the same ship because it's persisted through time, even though every part has changed? Or is it the real ship of Theseus? Or is the... Sorry, I'm stuttering and stumbling all over the place. Or is the real ship of Theseus the one that was rebuilt from the original materials, even though it has no continuity with the ship that sailed the seas? Similarly, if you are... let me try that again. Stuttering again. Similarly, if are you the same person you were 10 years ago just because you have the same body, albeit a somewhat changed one, or because you have a continuous chain of memories and experiences? And if someone could perfectly replicate your mind, would that person be you in any meaningful sense? So both the ship of Theseus and the teleportation problem force us to confront something that is, quite frankly, deeply unsettling. The idea that perhaps our identity, the thing that we cling to as the essence of who we are, is not as solid or as singular as we might think. But perhaps identity is not a fixed, unchanging essence, but something more fluid, more malleable, something that can survive even when every part has been replaced, or even when a perfect copy has taken our place. So these are questions without easy answers. They make us question not only the nature of objects, but the very nature of ourselves, our consciousness, our bodies, and our minds. They challenge us to think about what it means to be human, what it means to persist through time, and whether the self that we believe in is nothing more than a fragile construct easily replaced and duplicated. In the end, the ship of Theseus and the teleportation machine are not just stories, they're mirrors reflecting back at us the deepest questions of our existence. They force us to confront the idea that perhaps there is no single unchanging self, and that who we are is constantly in flux, shaped by change and by time. So are we the ship that sails on, continuously repaired, forever renewing itself? Or are we the scattered pieces reassembling into something new? Or maybe, just maybe, we're both.